I want to talk to you about national intelligence estimates, or NIEs. These are documents that are perhaps among the most sensitive and really important in the entire national security establishment of the United States. They're the documents that represent, theoretically at least, the views of all of the intelligence agencies. And they are supposed to provide a community-wide assessment of some of the most important decisions or policy challenges that the United States is facing at any given time. Unfortunately, when they're poorly done, they can be very detrimental to U.S. security interests. A perfect example of this was an NIE that was done in December 2007 on the Iranian nuclear weapons program. You may remember it. It got a lot of attention because it was portrayed as an intelligence assessment that found, to the amazement of almost everybody who's been watching Iran's steady pursuit of a nuclear weapons capability, that for some reason in 2003 or 2004, Iran had decided to get out of the business, or at least had stopped its nuclear weapons program. In point of fact, it did no such thing. Indeed, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mike Mullen, said just recently that the Iranians now have enough highly enriched uranium to make a nuclear weapon and are in the process of trying to do just that. Indeed, the national intelligence estimate was seen by, I think, most thoughtful people, certainly experts, as rubbish when it was produced. In fact, it only had one real purpose, and that was to undermine America's response to the Iranian nuclear threat that was and is a building. So there's an insight into what can happen when national intelligence estimates become, as a practical matter, politicized. They're used not as an objective assessment of an intelligence problem or target, but rather to influence policy, to shape what, in this case, a president of the United States does with respect to one of those issues or problems. Why is this important? This is important because President Obama has just decided to appoint as the chairman of the agency within the intelligence community, the National Intelligence Council, that is responsible for producing these national intelligence estimates, a man who is almost certainly going to politicize these documents. In fact, over the space of his foreign service career, and most especially during the 8 or 10 years that he's been out of government, Charles, or as he's known, Chaz Freeman, has been a very, very vocal advocate for the policies or for the views of some of the countries that are the biggest problem to the United States at the moment, whether it's communist China, or whether it's Saudi Arabia, or whether it's Iran, or not even a country, but a terrorist organization, Hamas. We've seen Chaz Freeman repeatedly towing the party line of those governments, promoting their view, and quite often criticizing the positions and even it appears, the interests of his own country. It's fine to have such a man out in the public policy arena, espousing whatever position he wishes, even if he's taking money from Saudi Arabia or from communist China, or who knows, maybe even from Iran for the purpose. What's not acceptable is to have such a man as the arbiter of intelligence assessments that will inform, perhaps decisively, U.S. government security policies. It seems to me it's malfeasance on the part of Barack Obama to employ such a man in such a job. And I urge you, and those you know, and those who represent you, to call upon President Obama to reject this choice, to remove Chaz Freeman from the chairmanship of the National Intelligence Council. This is Frank Gaffney.